Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first show of the 2021 calendar year. Joe Samaniego, Daniel from Racer, the girls behind the helmet. Not a whole lot of racing news to report, but we definitely got a lot of news to report. Especially, we're going to start previewing the 2021 W Series field with the first two drivers in this episode. But first, we'll start with the big news from the Dakar Rally and a female racer making some history.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everyone in Europe, and of course, good morning from everyone following us in the US. As Joe said, we've pretty big news from Dakar. Historical, the Dakar Rally has been one of the first races in the calendar year that we follow, and in the last couple of years, there's always been a lot of female racers in such a what is basically considered one of the most demanding races in the world. The Dakar Rally is a really tough race. It's the second year that it's been contested in Saudi Arabia. The first edition was in 1979, so a really historical race, and lately has become probably one of the most awaited events in the whole world of rally. Cristina Gutiérrez is one of the drivers that we spoke about her in the previous episodes of Grid Girls, because she will also be racing in the brand new Extreme E championship that is set to start in later this year in March. Cristina, of course, will be racing for the X44, which is the new Lewis Hamilton team. That championship is going to be very interesting for us because, as we said, there will be one male racer and one female driver competing together and switching sides, both at the co-driver and in the driving seats during the race. And we have two racers that will be contesting the Extreme E Championship this year in Dakar. One is of course Cristina Gutiérrez, who is racing in the lightweight vehicles class, which are cars. While the other one, interestingly, is Laia Sanz, will be racing also in the Extreme E. And in the Sainz, together with Carlos Sainz in Extreme E, while she is racing in Dakar in the motorbikes class. She's a motorbike racer. She has been, I think this one is her 11th Dakar in the motorbike class. But as we said, Cristina Gutiérrez made history at the very first stage of this year's Dakar Rally. Because she took an overall victory in her class, and this was the very first female victory, overall victory in a class since 2005, since the German legendary racer Jutta Kleinschmidt won a stage in 2005. Since the first stage today, there was the fourth stage. And of course, Cristina has a little bit lost a little bit of time, especially in yesterday's stage. She had a couple of technical issues, but she's currently, I think she's 15th in her class today after today's stage. So she dropped back a little bit and lost some time, but she's reporting that she had quite good pace, so she's still hopeful coming to the later stages. The Dakar Rally is set to finish on January 15th, so still a little bit to go, and hopefully we'll see more female victories towards the end of the race.
Definitely it's going to be really interesting. Of course, Dakar Rally, such a long, grueling race. Definitely one of the biggest tests when it comes to the driver's endurance, the mechanics, and of course the vehicles. We'll definitely be following that, and hopefully we'll have more to report on next week on the program. And one of the big stories coming out of IMSA for 2021 involves Taylor Hagler. She is joining Brian Herta Autosport for the 2021 IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. She is a young American racer signed with Brian Herta Autosport for the 2021 year in the Michelin Pilot Challenge season. So it's going to be really exciting to see the 25-year-old return to the IMSA paddock to drive number 77 Brian Herta Autosport. Hyundai. She intends to progress in her not only racing career, but her education by completing her MBA program. And of course, being a professional racing car driver, a lot on her plate, but definitely very exciting for her 2021 year. And of course, as we talk about all the drivers, you'll see their profile, including to their Twitter or Instagram account. We encourage everyone to go follow all the drivers that we're discussing and reporting on in the program, because we definitely want to see all the women racing continue to advance their careers, and definitely one of the women that has advanced a lot in motorsport, especially when it comes to IndyCar, Pippa Mann, who is going to have some new partners in 2021.
Absolutely. The Girls Only project is a project at this year. It will be their third season racing. They're basically racing in Germany until last year, but they're planning to go bigger and better this year. The team is managed by the WS Racing team, which is a German team that 2 years ago launched this project, which is called Girls Only, which is interesting because we've seen in the last couple of years some all-female crews in endurance racing, but they really brought this concept to a whole new level, because there's not only all the racers, all the drivers are females in this team, but also all the mechanics, all the engineers, all the management, all the stuff is a female. So very interesting project from Germany on the Girls Only team. Last year they did the 24-hour of the, well, 2 years ago they did the 24-hour of the Nürburgring. Last year they did the VLN, which has been rebranded the NLS Nürburgring Langstrecke Series. While this year they're planning to go bigger. They launched a crowdfunding campaign, which is still on. So if anyone is interested, go visit their Indiegogo page. There are remarkable perks to be chosen, and still very interesting project. They're planning to extend their program into an LMP3 program. So very interesting. And they already announced 3 very important drivers, big names. There's Pippa Mann, as you said, the British driver that has really made a name for herself in the US lately in the last years. She's an Indy 500 veteran. And she's also coaching and mentoring some really interesting new upcoming female drivers. For instance, Emily Linscott was last year did the Lucas Oil Formula Car School of Racing in the US, helped by Pippa Mann. And this year, Pippa will be returning to Europe to race with the WS Racing Girls Only project. She will be racing with another very important name in female motorsport, which is Cristina Nielsen. Cristina has 2 titles under her belt already in the IMSA category, together with Catherine Legg. Nielsen had to sit out in 2020 after she was signed to the Gear project, which was another all-female team, was scheduled to be racing at IMSA together with Catherine Legg, and also Tatiana Calderon did the Daytona 24-hour with them in January 2020. Unfortunately, the team only completed the first race, which was the Daytona 24-hour race, and then I think with COVID crisis coming in, they had sponsorship issues, and so they pulled out of the championship. So Cristina did not take part in any races later in 2020, but she will be back together with Pippa Mann and also another very important name in European motorsport, which is Kerry Schreiner, the young lady from Germany that has been racing also in the ADAC GT Masters, one of the most important GT3 championship in Europe. And also Laura Kraihammer, Austrian racer. Last year she did the VLN with this team, this project. It's not clear yet her full program, but maybe she will also be back with this team in the TCR category in the VLN, while the LMP3 schedule is still very much to be confirmed. But Pippa Mann and Cristina Nielsen are definitely going to be 2 of the drivers from this very interesting project.
very interesting product. Very excited to see the potential of this team in 2021. Of course, 2021 live excitement is around the W Series. The racetracks, some of the best in the world. The cars are all equal. The teams, the mechanics, they all are randomized. So there is really no advantage between a back marker and a front team. And definitely the drivers, it's going to be a big test for all of them, including the first two we're going to talk about. We'll start off with second place in the last year's championship, Beitske Visser.
Oh yeah, but Beitske Visser, she was, of course, she's a very important racer in Europe. She's also a BMW factory driver. But apart from that, she did the here we can see her racing last. She did 2 races in the GT Open last year as a factory driver from BMW. She's also doing a lot of testing program for the German manufacturer. Last year she did the W Series, and actually she came back on track after a couple of years hiatus, after she had taken part in very important championships before the W Series. She had done the Formula Renault 3.5, which was basically one of the most competitive Formula Series apart from the Formula 2 championship. They were very close on lap times. She did the GP3, which is now the International Formula 3. So a very important CV for Beitske. But she was also part at some point in her career of the Red Bull Junior program, so one of the most important young drivers program in Formula racing. She was dropped by Red Bull after one single season when she was not doing that bad either, but she was dropped by the Red Bull program, and so she had a couple of years out of racing, and she came back finally with W Series. She had a victory straight into her second weekend at her home round in Zolder. Here we can see her victory in Zolder, and also her curious red and blue globes. She's always racing with one red globes and one blue globes. I asked her why that, and she said that she really don't know, but she doesn't know, but it was always been like that since she was racing go-karts, so she continued that tradition. And she's a very interesting driver, of course, 26-year-old racer from the Netherlands. Last year, 6 starts in W Series, 4 podiums, 1 victory. She came second in the final standings, very close to Jamie Chadwick, and we know that she will be again one of the title contenders this year. We don't know what drivers are going to be fighting with Beitske and Jamie, and probably also Alice and Emma and Marta Garcia. But we can be pretty sure that Beitske is going to be there. This year she had a very important program after she lost the seat in W Series because the 2020 season was cancelled. The W Series was a bit late to announce the esports championship, but when that finally happened, she basically dominated the championship. She's probably one of the drivers, the real life drivers that puts a lot of hours on the simulator. She really likes to train at the simulator. She's still doing sim races right now, esports championship. Last week she did one of the most important esports championship that is combining both real drivers and sim racing drivers on the iRacing platform. They were racing at on the Indianapolis Oval with Formula 3 cars, and she did pole position and finished third with in a very, very close finish. So she's doing very well in esports as well. And she took victory in the esports league from the official W Series championship, racing with they were racing with the Formula Renault cars and not one with the Formula 3 tattoo scars that are employed in the W Series Championship. But basically, she took all the time she had during lockdowns, and she trained, put down a lot of hours at the simulator, and she's very competitive. And we voted her as our favorite esports driver in last year, in 2020, because really a lot of commitment from Beitske. And after the W Series Esports League, she was basically without a seat. When the ELMS team, Richard Mille Racing, that were set to compete in the European Le Mans Series and at the 24-hour of Le Mans with an all-female crew, composed of Sophia Flörsch, Tatiana Calderon, and Catherine Legge. Catherine Legge famously had her testing crash at the prologue in France, at the Le Castellet, and broke her leg, and of course she was out for the whole season. And Beitske was called to sub for Catherine Legge. So from with having no seat to an important program like the European Le Mans Series in the LMP2 category, Beitske came into the second round of the season at Spa-Francorchamps together with Calderon. And she had a very good season. She was competitive, and at the end of the championship, they were in the top 10 in the LMP2 class in the European Le Mans Series. They did, of course, Le Mans, the 24-hour of Le Mans, as a Le Mans rookie, which is also always very difficult from any driver, but especially from in a crew of 3 drivers were endurance rookies. Basically, they did very well, finished in the top 10, 9th place in LMP2 and 13th place overall in Le Mans. So very, very solid result for the Richard Mille Racing ladies. We don't know yet if she will be back in the Richard Mille Racing program in 2021. Hopefully, Catherine Legge will be back to her seat, because she is, of course, the team leader of that team. We still don't know what Beitske will be doing in 2021, but for sure she will be back in the W Series, and she will try to take the title away from her main rival in 2019, Jamie Chadwick.
That's definitely going to be a rivalry to watch. Jamie Chadwick, Beitske Visser, the two of them, they put on a heck of a battle last year. At the end, 10 points was the difference between the two of them for the championship. I know a lot of folks are, of course, familiar with Jamie Chadwick, especially this year with the announcements of Extreme E. Of course, Jamie Chadwick is going to be racing there this year. But of course, with Jamie Chadwick, she has a big racing history as well, too, as well as the W Series and other events. Can tell us a little bit more about Jamie Chadwick, who is a lot of people are saying is the favorite for the championship, but she's going to have some stiff competition.
Oh, absolutely. Jamie is, of course, one of the most interesting female faces in motorsport right now. She is also very famous and very well known for her ties with the Williams Formula One team. She's developer and driver of the Williams Formula One team since last year. Jamie came into motorsport quite late in her career, actually. She started karting at the age of 12, which is a little bit late compared to a lot of other drivers that are usually starting out at 7 or 8 years of age. She entered the world of motor racing after her brother was racing in go-karts. She wanted to have a try, and she did. Turns out that she's pretty good, and she started racing in also in the Ginetta GT Championship in the UK. She firstly came into GT, which is a little bit surprising. Well, I wouldn't say surprising, but not very often we see young drivers starting straight into GT and then coming back to Formula cars. She in fact came back to the Formula 3, British Formula 3 Championship after winning the British GT Championship in the Aston Martin GT4. So another very important result for Jamie, being at such a young age. She was the youngest ever British Formula GT champion. After that, she started in Formula cars, switched to the British Formula 3. And won a race in Brands Hatch. She was the first female to win a Formula 3 race in Brands Hatch in the British Formula 3 Championship. And after that, she had the mega 2019 year. She was the only driver overall worldwide, not only female, but worldwide, to win 2 Formula Championships last year. Well, 2 years ago, right now. She won the W Series and the MRF Formula Championship in India. She won the championship in India and then came back to W Series as probably the favorite, and she won straight away in Hockenheim, the very inaugural W Series race. Then did all podiums until the very final race in Brands Hatch, where she took pole position, but finished 4th. The very first time that she finished outside of the podium, but with Alice Powell and Emma Kimiläinen fighting for victory. Beitske Visser was only 3rd at the finish line in Brands Hatch, and Jamie was crowned the inaugural W Series champion. 2 victories, one in the very first race in Hockenheim and the second at the Misano, but was very, very consistent, a lot of pole position, a lot of fastest lap. She was we can say that she was the best driver in the inaugural season of W Series. And then after that, she had another very important victory, because she won the 24-hour of the Nürburgring with Aston Martin. She is still part of the Aston Martin Young Driver program in GT, also doing some testing program with the British brand in the UK, and then switched to Formula 3 Asian Championship, which is a very important and very interesting category that we will also be following this year, which is starting in the coming weeks. Jamie competed in the Asian Formula 3 Championship, which is racing in the same cars, in the same Tatuus Formula 3 cars that are employed in the W Series and also in the Formula 3 Regional European Championship. It's very important because a lot of European drivers, very important drivers, are going into in this winter series, which is basically a winter series, racing in Asia before the start of their European programs. It's important because, of course, you get a lot of experience out of these cars. There are usually 5 or 6 weekends, all triple headers, so a lot of track time during the weekends, during the race weekends, and you get out of it quite a lot of FIA super license points potentially. Jamie did very well in the Formula 3 Asian series last year. She did pole positions, took podiums, and historically 1 victory. It should have been 2 victories. She also won in the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, but she was later penalized for starting infringement, and then took again that record in Buriram in Thailand at the final round of the season, when she won the race and became the first female to win a Formula 3 regional race worldwide. So it was very, very interesting to see Jamie Chadwick winning races and carrying momentum after her W Series championship title. And then she signed with Prema Power Team in Formula Regional European Championship in Europe. Of course, we all expected her to be again in a front-running position after her title in W Series, and then her 4th place overall in the standings in the Formula 3 Asian Series. Unfortunately, she had a little bit more of a challenging season in the Formula 3 European Regional Championship with Prema, despite, of course, being with one of the most important and competitive teams in all feeders series. She had what she described as a character-building season. She took podium straight away in her first weekend in Misano, so it was very very promising to see her again starting on a high with the podium, third place in Misano, with very important drivers actually competing in that series. There was Arthur Leclerc, Gianluca Petekov, Oliver Rasmussen, Yuri Vips, or very, very important drivers that will be definitely seeing them again either in the FIA Formula 3 Championship and in the FIA Formula 2 Championship. So Jamie competing very well and performing well with together with these drivers. Unfortunately, in the coming into the season, she had more of a challenging year, and she struggled a little bit on pace. Finished 8th at the end of the championship, still gaining a couple of super license points, but not quite what she expected at the beginning of the championship. She, as you said, Joe, she will be racing in the Extreme E new championship, which is very interesting because, of course, raising awareness for climate change and environmental issues, but also because it will be the very first championship achieving a gender equality, 50-50 numerical parity. So very important, very interesting from that side as well. And then Jamie announced late last month that she will be back into the W Series to defend her title. If she is going to again take the title after 2021, she will not be permitted again to race in W Series because of course, with the all-female Formula 3 Championship from this year, also paying FIA super license points for the FIA rules, the champion cannot be back and defend the title if he or she takes the super license points. So we'll see if Jamie is going to be her second and last season in W Series. But of course, she will have a lot of competition next year in W Series.
A lot of competition. W Series, without a doubt, is going to be one of the best, I think, most competitive series we're going to see in all the sports. And so definitely we're very excited about that. And we encourage everyone, please subscribe, like to the Grid Network, and be sure to follow Racers, the girls behind the helmet. Visit their website. Full coverage on more women racing around the world for the win. We'll be back on the air next Thursday, same time. And definitely we encourage everyone to be safe. Looking forward to seeing you all next weekend. And we cannot wait for the racing season to start. For Daniel at Racers, the girls behind the helmet, I'm Joe from the Grid Network. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful, safe day.
Joe Samaniego here. Want to invite you to go check out Publis. Publis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out Publis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.